Hello, everyone. Before we get started, make sure to like and subscribe, and leave a comment saying where you're from and when you watched. That way, YouTube will continue to show you stories like this. Now, let's get started. The next night. Chris couldn't sleep. What had happened on the rocks was still fresh in his mind, an indelible scar. He lay motionless in bed, listening to the rain pounding on the roof, the wind howling like the long groan of someone trapped in the darkness. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw those empty black eyes staring straight at him. Near midnight, in the brief silence, an unusual sound rang out. It wasn't like rain or waves, but a distant, low singing voice from the depths of the ocean. At first, Chris thought he was hallucinating, but the singing grew louder, humming like a lullaby, laced with sorrow. Each word, each syllable echoed in his mind, making his heart pound. He jumped up and rushed out onto the porch. Outside, the sea was pitch black, but from beneath the surface, a faint green light was rising. The light was not fixed, it was undulating, sometimes deep, sometimes shallow, like a living entity. The long singing voice mixed with the sound of the raging waves, painting a terrifying melody. Chris trembled and stepped back, but his feet felt nailed to the floor. The whispering voice became clearer, and this time it called his name. Chris. Come down here. He held his head, trying to reassure himself that it was just an echo from the wind, but the hypnotic feeling took over. Before he knew it, he had grabbed his flashlight, stepped out of the house and walked towards the water's edge. The wind whipped at his face, the cold rain penetrated his raincoat, but he felt nothing. The blue light under the sea grew brighter and brighter, illuminating each white-capped wave as he stood close to the shore. Chris heard a rhythmic tapping sound under the water, like the drumbeat of a ritual. Each beat echoed, harmonizing with the singing, making his head spin. He pointed the flashlight at the sea and almost screamed when he saw the dark shapes moving under the waves. Dozens, maybe hundreds, of blurry figures, rising and falling, like an invisible procession marching on the seabed. Chris quickly retreated, but his feet slipped on the wet sand. In a moment of confusion, a cold hand suddenly grabbed his ankle, pulling him down to the water's edge. He screamed, struggling. The flashlight beam fell onto the sand, its light streaking across the murky water. Right there, he saw a pale face emerge, wet hair covering one eye, lips moving wordlessly. The pale hand continued to tighten, pulling him down as if to drown him. In a panic, Chris kicked hard, freed himself from the hand, and crawled up the sand. He trembled, his eyes still glued to the water. The blue light suddenly went out, leaving behind a thick darkness. The singing also disappeared, leaving only the sound of the raging waves. Chris sat there, gasping for breath, his whole body trembling as if he had just escaped death. But in his head, a sentence kept ringing. You heard the call, you can't turn. Back home. Chris locked the door, put his head down on the table. He knew something was trying to pull him deeper. The dream that night was so haunting that he saw himself sinking to the bottom of the sea, surrounded by countless pale hands dragging him. When he woke up, the clock was only 3 in the morning. The rain was still pouring down, but the singing, though gone outside, still echoed in his mind. Chris knew that if he stayed, he would hear that call many more times. But part of him wanted to know the truth. What was hiding in the deep sea? Why was it calling his name? And why was he the chosen one? Out at sea, the waves were still roaring. In the darkness, some invisible eyes were still watching the small wooden house. Chris sat alone, lit a trembling candle, and he knew that this was only the beginning of a long series of terrifying nights. The end of episode 3. The Song from the Deep Sea is just the first invitation. Stay tuned for the next episode, titled Part 4, The Shadow Behind the Window, to discover what is really lurking around the house on a rainy night.